But can you revisit the idea of the super cycle?
Yeah, it's funny. As soon as there's a little bit of a dip, people lose faith. I think of the quote, "Oh ye of little faith." I've been hodling for 9 years and three different bull runs, and so folks, the first big dip in a bull run, people are like, "It's over, it's over," and this very much reminds me of 2013. 2013, we had a bull run in the beginning of the year. Then it had this sideways agonizing chop for about 3 to 6 months. And then we had a bull run at the end of the year. And so this year very much feels like that. Now, to zoom out and apply this knowledge to what the super cycle means, the super cycle is basic. The TLDR is that this time is different and that Bitcoin probably won't behave like all the other cycles. And I think this skews more bullish. Now, of course, no one can predict the future, neither you nor I can. So as a caveat, these are more of just our opinions on where the price might go. So the super cycle is basically like this time is different. We have institutions, we have institutional infrastructure, we have the whole world coming to understand Bitcoin's value prop. Bitcoin is available to purchase in like Cash App, Robinhood, SoFi, PayPal, Venmo, alongside Kraken, Coinbase, et cetera. There's so many places to buy it. And there's so much good knowledge and educational content that Bitcoin could go from 100 million users to a billion users potentially, or something really big like that. So the super cycles basically dictates this time is different. We could see it be more bullish than usual. And what that would look like would be kind of like a 2013 where we have a mini bull run and then another bull run later in the year. Or we would see that kind of like a longer, more extended bull run where maybe there's a muted bear market, right? Like the bear market isn't as intense. Now with this dip in the middle, I don't know if that part of my thesis or that interpretation of my thesis holds true anymore, in terms of there being a more mild bear market. It seems like this market is still very intense and we saw a pretty big dip here on the way up. So yeah, TLDR overall, it's basically a more bullish interpretation on this current cycle that, this is the moment that mainstream wakes up and institutions wake up and believe that Bitcoin is valuable. And if that happens, then Bitcoin's not going to have a normal bull run.
I think it's all also a matter of time frame and interpretation, because you look at Bitcoin March of 2020 at 3,800, or even call it 6,000 since it was very temporarily under 4,000. And you look at a price of 29,000, which was basically the lows of this quote unquote bear market, you would have killed for that price when Bitcoin was 6,000.
Totally. It's so funny how bearish people get when they see Bitcoin at 30,000. They're like, "Oh man, that was capitulation, right? Like right under 30." It's so funny to think about that. Bitcoin exposes so much of the raw human nature of fear and greed, where Bitcoin's price, nothing changed about Bitcoin. The price just changed. But because of that, people have these mental models of what's expensive or cheap. And so it totally, flips the idea of like what is value and how do people value things on top of its head. It's really interesting to see.
I've made that argument countless times that price and value are not the same thing. And I think new traders and investors don't understand that. And obviously they're drawn to whatever the price is at that moment and they determine it as such. But when you look at on-chain metrics, the central banks, I mean, all of the reasons that we buy Bitcoin, I think it's a very clear argument that the price is not caught up to the value.
Totally. I mean, look, Bitcoin, if the world realized Bitcoin's value, Bitcoin should be at 10 to $100 trillion market cap. I mean, that's what Bitcoin's true net worth is in terms of like if we look at gold or the store of value assets. I mean, there's $18 trillion of bonds in the world that is negatively yielding. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. It's like the credit card company paying you to take out a loan, and then they pay you every single month because you borrowed from them. I mean, it's absurd. So, Bitcoin, I think, especially in this environment, Bitcoin should be worth at least tens of trillions. So yeah, we're very far away from that.